Welcome back to the deep dive. It is December 26th, 2025.
2025 is almost over.
I know, it's flown by. We really hope you had a fantastic Christmas yesterday. And now, we're right on the cusp of 2026.
New year.
And for anyone listening who is really ambitious, who wants to capitalize on everything happening right now, we have a mission for this deep dive.
Yes, we do.
We're going to unlock a clear four-step path to building a one-person AI business one that is, specifically designed to scale past that $1 million mark in the next year.
And this is really happening at a critical moment. All the sources we looked at, they confirm that the old rules of business are just being suspended. The consensus is that the first solo billion-dollar business is coming.
A billion with a B.
With a B.
Uh-huh.
And it's coming because of AI. The key insight, the thing that just changes everything, is what the research calls the 1000x collapse in the cost of doing business.
Okay, let's unpack that. 1000x collapse is a huge claim. It sounds a bit like hyperbole until you actually feel it. Can we ground that with, a really clear example? What does that mean for a founder?
Absolutely. Think about something really standard, like synthesizing customer feedback. 2 years ago, if you wanted to analyze, say, 1,000 customer reviews.
That's a whole team.
It's a whole team. It's a project manager, a couple of analysts, meetings, reports. You're probably looking at, what, $3,000 in days of work?
Right. And those are the kinds of costs that kept solo founders small. You had to hire just to manage the basics.
Exactly. But today, that same analysis, finding themes, flagging risks, all of it takes an AI minutes. And it costs maybe $3.
Wow.
That's the collapse right there. It's not just that AI is cheaper or faster. It's working at the speed of light. It's more precise, and it doesn't need a coffee break. The old bureaucracy is just becoming obsolete.
That one shift just radically changes the whole competitive landscape. So your competition isn't just other startups anymore. The competition is the fact that intelligence itself, the ability to analyze, to create, is basically a commodity now. So if this is the battlefield for 2026, what's the framework? How do we win?
You use the 4-step framework from the source material. And we have to start with step 1, which is all about validating your idea using what's called the founder's triangle.
Okay, the founder's triangle.
This is about being brutally honest with yourself before you spend a single dollar.
And the sources we looked at were really clear on this. They said that messing up this step, this is what separates the unicorns from the 99%. Why is idea validation so much more critical now?
Because if you start without a built-in advantage, you're basically racing against a machine that's getting cheaper by the day. You have to leverage something structural that AI can't just replicate overnight. Your idea has to check at least one box in this triangle.
So let's detail those 3 boxes, the 3 corners of the triangle. First up is domain. What does that mean?
Domain means you've worked in a specific industry for 5+ years. And it's not just about knowing the buzzwords.
It's the intuition.
It's the human intuition. It's knowing what problems people actually pay to solve versus what they just complain about. It's understanding the buying process, the partners. You're not starting at year 0, you're starting at year 5.
Okay, that makes sense. So the second check is depth or craft. This one's about what feels like play to you, but feels like really hard work to everyone else.
Yeah, this is your unfair skill advantage. It could be coding, complex math, accounting, or something totally different, like, I don't know, gardening or piano tuning.
Right.
Whatever it is, you build the business around that strength. Don't try to build an accounting platform if your depth is in, say, graphic design. It just won't work.
And the third corner gets down to brass tacks. Distribution. You need an unfair pathway to your customers.
You have to. A great product with no distribution is just a hobby. Right? So this is about having a network, maybe a captive audience, or a key partnership that gives you instant access and credibility. You need to know where the customers will come from before you even start.
The sources gave a perfect case study for this, someone who checked all 3 boxes. Harvey AI.
Harvey AI is the blueprint. The founder, Winston Weinberg, was a litigator. That's a massive domain check. He lived the pain.
He didn't just understand the law, he understood the grind, the financial pressure of a top firm.
Exactly. Then for depth, he teamed up with an AI expert from DeepMind and Meta. World-class technical skill check. But the distribution, that's where they really locked it in.
They didn't just sell it to individual lawyers.
No, they were way smarter. They went straight to the top. They piloted their tech inside the big law firms. They partnered with them to train the AI.
So they got instant credibility.
And an incredible distribution network. They expanded right through that high-value network they'd already built. And now The company's reportedly worth $8 billion in 2025.
So the lesson for you listening is pretty simple. If one of those triangle elements is green, you're a go. If two are green, hit the accelerator. And if all three
The
are...
floor, you found something truly rare.
Okay, so once the idea is solid, we get to step two, the machinery. This is the messy part, right? The day-to-day execution that usually takes a whole staff.
Yeah, this is the operational challenge. And we use the acronym DREAM to break down the 5 functions a solo founder has to manage.
D-Dream. Okay, what does it stand for?
So D is for demand. That's your lead generation, creating that qualified pipeline. R is for revenue pricing, packaging, renewals, profit margin, all of it. E is the engine.
The actual product or service.
Right, the core product. Design engineering features. A is for admin, the back office stuff.
Yeah.
Finance, legal, billing.
The stuff nobody likes doing.
The stuff nobody likes. And finally, M is for marketing, building your brand, your reputation through content, communities, case studies.
And this is where the AI magic really comes in, because something like 58% of small businesses are already using generative AI. A solo founder doesn't need to hire for all of this anymore.
That's the whole point. You can automate the bulk of these processes.
Okay, but here's a question. If you're running this whole dream machine on tools like ChatGPT or Google's models, isn't there a huge risk? What if they change their prices or their API overnight? Your whole business could just break.
That's a fantastic and crucial question. The solution is to think of the AI tools as interchangeable parts, not the whole system.
Ah, okay.
You're automating the function, not locking yourself into one specific tool. So for admin, let's say, your system is designed to take raw data and generate reports. If ChatGPT changes, you just swap in Claude or Gemini to do that same synthesis. You control your data and the overall process.
That distinction is so important. Let's talk about some real-world examples. The sources mentioned a business owner in Chicago who basically automated his CFO.
Yes, a perfect example of automating admin and revenue. He deals with raw material costs that are always changing, which meant he was manually crunching numbers every week to adjust prices. It was a huge time sink.
And probably prone to error.
Absolutely. So he built a simple system. He dumps the raw material data into an LLM for cost analysis. He feeds his QuickBooks and sales data into Google's Notebook LM. And the AI synthesizes all of it.
And then what?
It generates a script and uses a text-to-speech engine to create a weekly audio podcast for his branch managers, explaining the price changes and the reasons why. He literally has an automated CFO and communications director.
That is just staggering leverage for one person.
And if you're building software, the engine part is even more automated. Your entire dev team can be AI agents.
So instead of hiring 2 developers...
They have 2 AIs. One agent writes the code, the other agent reviews and debugs it. They're shipping features 24/7. You have to automate because the AI you use today is the worst AI you will ever use. It just keeps getting better.
So for you listening, the key takeaway here is not to try and automate the entire dream machine on day one. That's just overwhelming.
It leads to paralysis. You don't get to the top of Everest by staring at the summit. You focus on the 18 inches of snow right in front of you.
Pick one recurring task this week.
Just one. For demand, maybe use a tool like Clay to enrich 100 leads. For marketing, use Gamma to turn a doc into a slide deck in minutes. Just take one deliberate step.
And that focus on execution brings us to step 3. So the machine is running, you're scaling up. The game shifts from building to defending. Because in this world, if you're successful, people will copy you instantly.
This is the hard part. It's not starting the business, it's staying in business. And for that, you need moats. You need defensibility.
The first and maybe most powerful moat is counterpositioning. This means you attack the competition's core business model in a way they can't respond to without, well, destroying themselves.
The classic case study is, of course, Blockbuster versus Netflix.
It's just perfect. Blockbuster was a $6 billion giant, and their biggest profit source was late fees.
They needed that money. They were addicted to it, even though customers hated it.
And Netflix saw that. They introduced a subscription model, no late fees.
And Blockbuster was trapped. If they copied Netflix, they'd kill their biggest cash cow, so they did nothing. And by 2010, they were bankrupt. Meanwhile, Netflix turned a $50 million idea into a, nearly $500 billion company.
So for a solo founder, the move is to find that big hated fee or inconvenience in your industry and just eliminate it with AI.
Exactly. Moat number 2 is about creating sticky habits and high switching costs. You have to make leaving painful for your customers.
Not with contracts, but by integrating so deeply into their workflow.
Right. It's the inertia of habit. It's why people still use ChatGPT, even when Google's Gemini is built right into their browser. The habit is formed. The mental cost of switching feels too high.
And the third moat, the one that keeps you innovating, is proprietary data and learning loops.
You have to turn your customer usage into a competitive advantage that just keeps getting stronger.
How does a solo founder do that? It sounds like something only Google could build.
You focus on unique action data. Take Cursor, the AI coding platform. They analyze keystrokes and usage patterns from millions of developers.
Okay, so they're watching how people actually code.
And that proprietary data lets them build features no one else can. They have a tool that suggests complex code corrections as you type. That amazing feature drives more usage, which generates more data, which makes the feature even better. It's a loop.
And once you're in that loop, you're almost impossible to catch. Okay, so we've got the idea, the machine, and the defense. But the sources all stressed that even with all that, you can't succeed if you skip the last step. No AI can debug the software in your head.
Step 4, the mindset. Being a solo founder, it's not about being fearless. It's about feeling the fear and showing up anyway.
Acknowledging it.
Acknowledging it and moving forward. When you face a really big risk, the question you have to ask is, when I'm on my deathbed, looking back, what will I regret more?
And the answer is almost never the risk you took that failed. It's the risk you were too afraid to take at all. You have to give yourself permission to succeed.
And that brings us to the core human value proposition in this new world. If AI is getting smarter than any human at analysis and optimization, what's left for us? What do you bring to the table that can't be automated?
That is the question, and the answer is your taste. Your purpose, your relationships, your judgment, your critical thinking. These are the assets that can't be turned into a commodity.
Exactly. If intelligence is a commodity, then your unique human judgment is the ultimate differentiator. The best investment you can make in 2026 is not in a new tool, it's in sharpening your own mind.
So let's do a quick recap. The 4 pillars to build your $1 million solo AI business. First, the founder's triangle to validate your idea. Second, the automated dream machinery for execution. Third, the strategic moats to defend it. And fourth, the mindset to actually see it through.
And let me leave you with a final thought to take into the new year. Given that intelligence is now cheap and abundant, how are you going to start investing in your ultimate non-commodity asset, your critical thinking, starting today? What are you reading? What are you studying to sharpen that judgment?
That is a fantastic question to chew on. And if you found this deep dive valuable, please take a second to support our mission. Head over to our YouTube channel, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss the latest deep dive when it drops.
Thank you so much for joining us for this look at the blueprint for success in 2026.
We'll catch you next time.